Hello and thank you for joining me. I'm Heather Forgan of stampwithnellie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. I received this gorgeous card at OnStage in Vienna last year, and I seem to have misplaced who created it, so I'll need to try and find that out. But it's been up the side of my desk in a I want to case pile for ages, and I have eventually gotten around to doing something about it. I did find a tutorial for something very similar, but it was in German and it was in centimetres. So I have done my measurements in inches, but they do use an A4 sheet of card. So if you're in the US, then you won't be able to make it using my measurements with your standard letter card. You'd have to use 12 by 12 and trim that down, okay? But I am doing it in inches. So the card, this one, opens like that, which is added designer series paper onto the inside and one of the scallop shapes dies, I think that was, and then this bit just tucks under there. The one that I saw being done by a German demonstrator, she had put a magnet underneath this piece of designer series paper and under there so that that just snapped shut, which is a great idea, but I'm a little bit wary of magnets, so I don't have any. So my one, I've decorated it using the beautiful balloons stamps and dies to cut these lovely balloons, and the papers are from the same suite, and these are called Bright and Beautiful. It's a 6x6 paper pack, got lots of the new and returning colours in that pack. So mine, that big balloon keeps that one underneath there, so you do need to kind of bend it up to pop it back in. But if you bend it like that, you can't really tell. So opens the same. I've got some designer series paper on there too. I've also got my bookmark. Mine's a little bit slimmer, and on the inside I've not decorated that, but I've just decorated this. So yeah, that's my version. Love this with the tea boutique, which is sadly retired. So I've gone with balloons and our lovely new colour, Bubble Bath. I don't have any suitable ribbon, so I've just gone with a bit of that gingham black and white ribbon. Not entirely happy with it, but it'll do until I can get some Bubble Bath ribbon. Okay, enough chat, let's get on with it. So as I say, this is a full sheet of A4. So it's 11 3/4 inches in length, and I'm keeping that, and the width is 8 1/4, but I am trimming that down to 5 7/8. Okay, and that just means that it will end up being the normal size to fit in a C6 envelope. Okay, so this piece here, I'm going to use a bit of that later. On the long side, I'm going to score that at 4 1/8. Just checking I've got this in shot, 4 1/8. So keeping the cutting blade well out the way, 4 1/8. Then at 8 1/4. So that then takes it to our normal card size in the UK. Then score at 10 inches. Okay, so we've now got 2 panels like that, and then we've got this bit that will fold back over like that. Okay, now if I left that like that, it's just that little bit too big for that to come. So with your 2 short score lines at that end, I'm just trimming off a tiny bit. So it's about 1/8 of an inch I'm taking off, and it's just so that it will close more easily. Okay, like that. All right, now we need to get that zigzag on here. So to do that, let me pop this out the way just now, be bringing it back. But I need to use a ruler, and from this bottom corner, so I've got those two short score lines there, bottom corner, bottom right hand corner, I want to put a pencil mark at 3 1/4 inches from the bottom. Okay, so I'm measuring from the bottom to 3 1/4. Okay, I'm going to mark that second score line there, and then I'm going to cut from there to there. So let me bring my trimmer back. I'm going to put that pencil mark in the centre of the guide, and also that pencil mark there. Okay, so I need to get those both lined up in the middle, and then I'm going to start my cutting in the middle, go up and then come down. Okay, you could go down and then up, it's totally up to you. So that's how we get that zigzag piece there. All right, let me just, before I forget, take off those pencil marks. Right, so, gosh, my goodness, that's really mucky. We've got to put some designer series paper on the front. Okay, and that piece is just 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. Nice and straightforward. I've got a piece of card that is exactly the same size for the inside. Then when I cut my piece for when I cut my piece for the front, I also cut this piece here. Okay, and this piece measures 1 1/2 inches by 5 1/8, so I can get all of that from 1 6 by 6. And I also had this little strip left over, and a tiny little strip that's ended up in the bin. So this little strip here I'm going to add to the bottom of that bit there, just so that I don't waste it. Okay, so I'll do that later. This bit obviously needs a bit of trimming as well, and then I've got another piece to do more with, but this bit needs trimmed. So we need to do some more pencil marks on this one. And again, I'm measuring from the bottom right hand corner, and I want to mark that at 3 1/8 of an inch this time. Okay, and on the opposite side, again measuring from the bottom, I want to mark that at 4 1/4. Okay, and then I'm going to cut between those two lines there. Bring it back over a bit. This time I'm measuring from the top left hand corner at 1 1/8 of an inch. So you'll see there's a little gap between there, which should be roughly 1/4 of an inch, I think. Slightly more. Okay, so I want to cut from that one to there, and then I want to cut from that corner down to there, and that will give me the two pieces take that out of the way, I've got that bit there, and then this bit will go in here once I've trimmed that top corner off as well. Hopefully that'll make sense in a moment. Right, back in with the trimmer. So again, the bottom pencil mark and the pencil mark on this side in the centre. Bring my blade to the centre and cut. Okay, and then I've maybe not got that entirely right, but never mind. That one and that one. So this corner in the centre, that pencil line in the centre, and this gets a little bit tricky, so I'm going to make my life a little bit easier. So once I've got it in place where I want it, I'm just going to use a little bit of very low tack tape to cut that. Okay, just to hold it in place so I don't have enough fingers. There we go. Right. Again, take off your pencil marks. That's them. One there and one there. Okay. Right. So this piece I want to put on there. Okay, so we'll just do that whilst it's nice and flat, like so. There we are. And then I can add some glue along this edge here, down that bit there. You could go right the way down, but you don't need to. And I'm going to fold that over. Using my bone folder, I'm going to squidge the glue out the way and down the way, because I don't really want it to be too tight for my bookmark to go in there. Okay, I'll need to wait till that's actually dried. And I've got a little bit of, don't know if that's pencil marks or glue marks or what it is. We'll try and clean that up later. Okay, so that's that bit. Let me just pop that paper on the front while I'm waiting for that other bit to dry. Now this will be slightly, it doesn't have quite the same margin at this side, but I'm not bothered about that because it's going to be tucked under, so I'm still keeping these sides with the same margin, and that one's shorter. Okay, that's that. So I will need to put a piece on the inside here. I actually found the easier way to do that was I just cut a piece that was 1 3/8 of an inch wide, pop it in place, kind of got the same margins there and there, and then give it the same kind of distance there and there, and then get my larger scissors because it's not very wide to bother getting the trimmer out. Do it like that, and that gives you a decent margin around as well, so just a bit of a cheats way to do it.
is much easier to show you than to talk, you know, to write in a blog post. So, so it has a bigger border around it than this piece here. But that is absolutely fine. Let me just do this bit, that bit of glue on that. Line that up along the bottom of that piece of card and just slide it in place, and then again just chop off the excess. And try not get too much glue on your hands. That's slid up slightly, just put it back down, and this bit's going to just go in the middle. And you probably would want to stamp it before you glue it, but I forgot. So the margins around that are similar to the margins around there, so hence why I did it that way, so it kind of looks consistent on the inside, just as it looks consistent on the outside. Okay, now we have that other bit that we cut can go on there. I should have done that first before I glued that down. You do it that way, much easier. Right, I wonder, can I get that up? Yeah, I can. It's not. The joys of wet glue. Right. If I remember, I will put a little note on this video to do this bit earlier. Oh, I've got glue everywhere. That's the problem with doing points. Right. Do I need to put any more glue on that? It should be okay. Right. Yep, that looks like it's okay. The bit I cut off earlier, I want to make my bookmark with. So I'm going to cut that down to 5 inches by 1 1/4. 1 1/4, measuring it this side. That. Okay. And that's the spare, that's the bookmark. And I've got a piece of paper. I had to go into a second sheet of designer series paper. So you use less than 1.5 sheets on this card and bookmark. So yeah, that was 4 3/4 by 1 inch. Like that. Punch a hole. I just used the Very Best Trio punch. Line that up in the middle-ish. Punch that hole. And then you can pop that in there fairly easily. Add a bit of ribbon onto that. I'm going to use just the same ribbon. So I don't even have any current white ribbon. Shocking stuff. Just chop a bit off. And just loop that through. Alright. And then you can trim it down. That goes in there. And now it's just a case of us doing some stamping on the inside and our decoration to stop this bit from flapping up like that. All right, so put that back in there so I don't forget it. I've got a piece of basic white. Now on this one I used Bubble Bath and Fresh Freesia. This one I'm going to use Lemon Lolly and Lost Lagoon. So we'll see what that looks like. The stamp set is photopolymer, so I'm going to use my Stampin' Pierce mat just to give it an extra little bit of sponginess. Ooh, brand new ink pad, barely used, should be super, super juicy. Let's give that a good press. Oh, that's lovely. And then there's another stamp in the set that kind of has like confetti on it. So I'm gonna ink that up with Lost Lagoon and pop that over the top. Nice, I like that. Then I'm gonna do the smaller one with Lost Lagoon. And for the final one, or I did two of those, and then I've done one with the sentiment. Actually, let's just do that. Let's do the sentiment of Yay You. Pop that on there. And then I need to give this one a clean. With my chamois. Just make sure that really is clean. Yep. Then ink that up with the Lemon Lolly and stamp that over there like that. Now, I should have done this other bit first. But we've still got a bit of the Lemon Lolly card left, so I am going to clean this again and use the Lost Lagoon a few times on that, and I will cut 2 balloons from that as well. So in the die set I've got one that matches up with that big one. I've got that medium size one, and then I want to use that medium size one for that as well, but then I've got that smaller one that I'm going to do a couple of these as well. Okay, so bear with me and I will just get those die cut and maybe have a little tidy up of my desk. Okay, so I've got my balloons die cut, but as well as die cutting the balloons, I also used this little die here to cut little tails for the balloons from both just plain Lemon Lolly, basic white, and also a couple from the stamped ones as well. Okay, so we've got a little mixture here to go on with. I want to put the big one on first, and I want that to just overlap there. I don't want it to be too far over because I don't want to have to bend it too much to put that back in there. Okay, so just over a little bit, and to make sure I do that, I'm adding my dimensionals to the edge here. Okay, so I want to get it quite close like that. Okay, doesn't have to be straight, you can do it however you wish. Okay, and then I'm going to put other dimensionals on the other side of this piece. so that it's supported there too. Helps if you pick up the dimensional and not just the backing. Oh, come on. Right. Backings off those. Backings off those. Because I want to make sure that I've got it positioned right. Just adding a tiny dab. There. Okay, so just over like that. Okay. Ooh, that's maybe needed to be over just a little bit. Okay, let's try that again. I kind of want to have it so that there is enough room. It's that dimensional there that's the problem. Eesh. Let me take that off and put another one on over a little bit. If you have it too close, you don't have any purchase to do that. So those two dimensionals that I put right up to the edge, don't move them over a little bit. Again, learn from my mistakes. Stop blinking. Oh, glue escaping up there as well. Right, enough faffing. Be here all day. Gonna pop that one just in there. And I'll pop that one on there. Like that. He can have, let's decide which way round we want to do these. Do I want that there? I need to have this one. This one's going to go up on dimensional as well. Like that. Just going to put a little bit of glue on there. To hold that. This one, I'm going to put a bit of glue on the top. And that can go there. No, stuck to me, not to the card. Go, and this one, I'm going to get my fine tip glue. And just add a little bit of glue. Hopefully, yep, there is some there. Just a little bit. Top and bottom. There. And then that can go in there like that. And finally, the EU. It's just going to pop under there, and it doesn't actually need a tail. So I've got one left. Don't need it. Okay, so mucky mat. Just need a little bit of bling. On this one, I used the Fresh Freesia gems from this pack of Tinsel Gems 3-pack. And I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon ones on this card. Go with a couple of biggies and a smallie. in there. And there we go. We have 2 cards, complete with bookmarks, decorated on the inside. Forgot to do my stamping on the inside. Let's just do that. Oh, I've already got the stamp set out. So I'll stamp with Lost Lagoon. And again, as I mentioned earlier, probably would do this before I stuck it in case I completely misstamp. It's been on. Not bad. And then there's a little confetti type stamp as well. Do that with Lemon Lolly there. And then turn it around. Do it there. Yay! How cute's that? Awesome. And as I say, that just pops underneath there. Hopefully this one's dried now. Pops underneath there. Definitely move those dimensionals a little bit further over. Give yourself a bit more leeway. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope that I have done this swap some justice. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you've got time. That would be awesome. If you're new to my channel, please click on the subscribe button, click on the bell and get notification the next time I upload a tutorial. Until then, please do take care. Bye.